All right, moving on to video component 1B. So tonight we'll be documenting need, developing a needs statement with supportive data. So as I mentioned earlier, our first class on November 2nd, we were going to have 3 video sessions between now and the second class on November 16th. You should have already watched the first video on proposal planning, and this is the second video documenting need. So what will we be learning tonight? Participants will understand the purpose and strategies for developing an effective needs statement. They will develop strategies to identify or create sources to document the needs in the community, and explore the effective use of statistics and other data to illustrate the need in their community. So again, these are the parts of every single grant. You have the abstract or the summary, the statement or problem of need, the project goals, outcomes, and objectives, the project plan and methodology, the evaluation plan, qualifications, budget and budget narrative, and attachments. And again, we're going to focus on the statement of problem or need in tonight's video. Documenting the needs statement. What problem are you trying to fix? What is the issue that you need funding for from this grant funder? Why are you trying to fix it? Why should anyone care? Why is it important? Why should they give you money to help fix this problem? You really want to include real people impact of the issue. Don't make it too abstract or theoretical. Again, these grant funders are going to be seeing a lot of proposals coming across their desk, and it needs to make sense and feel real to the reader for them to want to award you funds for this proposal. Show the gap between what is the current situation and what it should be. Show that there is an issue and that needs to be solved, and how you're going to get there. And then what will happen if this problem is not solved or addressed. What will be the real impact on our community, on society? Make this statement make sense to the grant funder and why they need to care. So documenting need, the needs statement. The need or problem statement should be clearly related to the purposes and goals of your organization and the purposes and goals of the funder. Again, these things need to match. If the funder's purposes and goals are completely different than yours, you're not going to make them align. You need to make them clearly make sense to the reader. It's also helpful if you can get some other eyes on this, looking at this with you to make sure that these things are aligning. The need or problem statement should be of reasonable scale/scope to your program. This needs to make sense. Do not overinflate the need or the situation. Be as factual as possible. Not contain unsupported assumptions. We spoke about this in the earlier video. You do not want to include assumptions. You want to include facts. So an example is people who smoke don't care about their health. That is might be true in your opinion, but that is just an opinion, and that is not supportable. So do not use assumptions. Make sure the need or problem statement is not full of jargon. This needs to make sense to anyone who's reading the application. You do not want to confuse any readers or grant funders when they're trying to read through your proposal. And the need or problem statement should not solve the problem. This is essentially just outlining what the issue is, what the problem is. So describe the problem or the need in a way that motivates the grant maker and makes them want to fund your proposal. Documenting need, the needs statement. Again, you're identifying the need. So an internal assessment could be something like increased referral to one particular agency or program. I wish we had X. I wish we could do X. I can't believe how many X we've seen this month. So that's an internal assessment. An external assessment could be anything like increased referrals from one particular agency or program, sustained changes in client characteristics or needs, or trends. So those will kind of give you examples of different ways that you can make internal and external assessments of the need. Providing the need. So this is key informant. So subject matter experts can be great for identifying what the need is. Focus group of experts, community forum, individual story, statistical analysis, survey studies. These are all ways that you can support the need in your statement. Detail illustrates need. So instead of saying things like, there is a growing poverty issue in Gypsum County, you want to say something like, with a census reported poverty rate of 21.2%, Gypsum County families are the third poorest in the state. A 23% increase in food pantry visits over the last 6 months suggests that there is a growing problem. So again, you're going to want to support your statements with fact and with statistical information. But be careful, more words are not necessarily better. You want to be as concise as possible. I think I mentioned this earlier. Grant writers do not want to be reading a dissertation. It needs to be clear, it needs to be concise, and it needs to be easy to read. Documenting need, data. When using statistics, they must be relevant. So make sure they're up to date. Don't use old statistics from an old grant. Research the current information. Go to the correct website. Make sure you're having recent conversations about this problem. Make sure it's localized. You don't want to be using statistics that are way far out of your region and don't necessarily apply to the issue on the ground floor. Always cite your statistical information and then evaluate the source if possible and helpful. So speaking of statistics, you can always use the census available on the web. You can Google it, start messing around with that particular website and how to use it. It's pretty intuitive, easy to understand. There's also the American Community Survey, but the census counts and the ACS estimates. Documenting need. So this is the last word. The need statement simply describes the need. You want to motivate the funder. You want them to feel the problem. Remember, a lot of these organizations might have never have heard of your organization. They might have never listened to anyone talk about your particular problem. So pull yourself out of your head, try to put them in their shoes and think, how would I explain this issue to someone who has never heard about it before? And how would I motivate them to give, essentially? The need statement does not address or solve the need. That will come later in the project planning and methodology. This is simply describing the need and explaining it very clearly to the grant funder. And that's it. See you on the next video.